Hey y'all, this is Ryan from electrarian.org, disruptarian.com. So it looks like I'm going back to radio and I won't be a politician, which is quite a relief. As my website has stated for the last 8 months, I'm not really excited about being a politician. Just wouldn't be a good fit for me. I do want to influence politics, and the reason why I was running is so that I could debate with my representative, my current representative, who refuses to reply to an email of mine for over 2 years. I've sent it to her multiple times and I've posted it on my website and it's never been addressed. So Ashley Kirkowitz, I believe, after I think less than a year of being in office, she went, I think it was about 7 months actually. She's already had an ethics investigation about transparency regarding a company that she had an association with and a bill that she was voting on, or a local initiative, I think, that she was voting on in regards to the Nestle plant, the bottling plant, I believe. You'll have to look it up, the ethics violation that the ethics investigation that she was dealing with. I'm concerned about the, 225,000 jobs that were lost in Hawaii. I'm concerned about the economic shutdown, the tyranny, the loss of rights, the First Amendment, which is an inalienable right, the right to freely gather. The Fifth Amendment, another inalienable right, the right to travel. The Ninth Amendment, which guarantees those rights, not that the government gave them to us, but that they are a natural right given by our Creator, and that the Constitution defends those rights, and that they are non-negotiable. And, there's a lot of suicides right now because of the shutdown. It's just a lot of turmoil, and I'm pretty upset about it. So I want to see that change. I want to debate her about that. I want to debate her about, the rule of law and about some people getting protections up on the Mauna and other people getting a free pass, not having the rule of law enforced. I think that's wrong. I wanted to talk to her about the trade unions that supported her, some of which would have been employed up on Mauna Kea building the TMT, and she has neglected those supporters. She takes a lot of money from special interests. I wanted to talk to her about that. So maybe somebody will be able to ask her those questions. Maybe she'll answer my questions in a debate when she has questions from the public. But so far, she has gone almost 2 years without, a year and a half anyway, without answering my questions. So that was my point for getting into it. With the current riots and arson and murders and everything going on in the mainland, it makes me reflect on what happened in Maui, where a guy bought a house in the wrong neighborhood. 5 guys came over, one of them beat him with a shovel, the other one kicked him, and they all threatened to kill him if he didn't leave. They said that that's their private area, that he can't be there, even though he bought the house, he has the title. When the police got involved, the suspects were arrested. The court gave them time served, no felonies, no attempted murder. It was crazy. So they were just released on time served. So that was, perplexing to me. But recently I went to the mainland and I went to Seattle to start this business. It's a business that I owned in 2010 and I'm restarting it now. But as soon as I got there, almost like 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, this whole COVID shutdown happened. So I didn't get anywhere with the business. And I left the apartment that I was at to come home to Hawaii to be with my family. Now that building is on fire. The building that I was in when I was in Seattle has burning cop cars around it, and it's on fire, the last I heard. So that's interesting. So that's another reason why I talk about gun rights and self-defense, is that, hey, if someone's about to light my building on fire and my kid is in it with me, I'm popping shots. Right? Like, there's going to be some dead rioters. I will kill those fucking people. I mean, sorry about my language, but that's the matter of fact. Someone comes over to hurt me or my family, I'm putting a hole in them, hell or high water. Alright? Nothing's going to restrain me from defending my family. Not even arbitrary laws or unconstitutional laws. I mean, I have the right to keep and bear arms, and those arms are for a reason. That's self-defense. So if someone comes to attack me, they get shot. That's just how it is. I don't want to shoot anybody, but I also don't want anybody to attack me or riot in my neighborhood or light my building on fire or whatever. So, I cherish those rights. And to that end, I've talked a lot about Dale Brown with the Threat Management Center in Detroit and how effective they've been as a private policing agency. They've never killed anybody. I think they've been in business for like 17 years. They maintain security for businesses and residences and multifamily housing complexes in risky areas of Detroit. And then they also use some of the funds that they get on top of what they charge their clients to do free community policing in other areas that can't afford it. And they've been very effective. You know, the crime rates have dropped. Murder by police has dropped. So check out Dale Brown of the Threat Management Center in Detroit. I'm all in favor of that. And then, you know, police could direct their energy and resources to, you know, child trafficking and foster care and domestic abuse and things that really matter to our community. There's a lot of that here. Someone mentioned about me, I don't know where they're getting this information, but, you know, I left home early. It's kind of a painful subject for me. I left and went to live with my grandma at age 12. My dad had a drinking problem, like a lot of people on this island have, and I had to go live with my grandma, who was a saint, and she was my best friend until the day she died in 2016. She lived with us for 7 years. She's my mother's mother. My mother and her didn't get along too well. My mom was kind of a wild child and never really had good relationship with my grandma, but I had a wonderful relationship with my grandma, and I was very lucky that when my parents were going through separations and my dad was in jail multiple times for alcoholism, that I had someone to go to. And then I moved out of her house and I was on my own paying rent at age 15 and working for the irrigation company. People wanted to know all about my history going back to the day I was born. And I mean, as far as where I'm from, like I was born in Utah, but 6 months after I was born, my parents moved a lot because my dad was involved in civil engineering. So he was a project manager of the Palo Verde Dam. He was a project manager for the, what highway? I can't remember. It wasn't I-5. There's another freeway project in California he was a project manager of. And then we moved to Arizona, and he was also a project manager for granite construction there. And then we moved back to Utah. And I mean, we moved a lot. And then I left home early and I moved a lot. So I've just always enjoyed traveling. I think it was just something that was part of my upbringing, you know, and ever since the age of 15, I mean, I've seen all 49 states, 4 U.S. territories, 14 countries on 4 continents, but, you know, Hawaii is the only place I've called home in many, many years, in almost a decade. So this is my home. I pay taxes here. I'm a resident here. I'm not a resident anywhere else. My family lives here. You know, we have a business here. So this is my home. They wanted to know about that over and over and over. And every time I explained it, I even have a video of me explaining that to them and them insisting on like going further back, like when I was a baby, what was my family life home like it and whatnot. So, you know, native Hawaiian people, you know, they would call themselves Kanaka, make up roughly 12-13% of Hawaii's population. Maybe a little bit more. I mean, it depends on, you know, people calling themselves Hawaiian that aren't really Hawaiian, you know, that type of thing. But, you know, 12-13% maybe. But yet 50% of foster care has, you know, those native Hawaiian kids in foster care. That's the majority of the foster care demographic in Hawaii. And so I can relate to those kids, you know, not being able to get, you know, not being able to live with their parents, not being able to get along with their parents. Maybe their parents are drinking like my dad was. I've never had an alcohol problem. I've never had a, you know, criminal charge of anything of the sort. 24 years ago, I had cannabis charges when I was a teenager, like 19, Class B misdemeanor. I believe it's been expunged because I had a secret clearance for when I worked for the VA as a robotics engineer for automated pharmacy. So I was able to pass their secret clearance background check. So as far as that's concerned, I don't know, you know, what they were digging for. It doesn't really matter to me. My life story's on the internet. I have 33 websites. I have 7 YouTube accounts, and I have about 2,000 videos because I'm a citizen journalist, you know, and I document things. As far as like being self-sustainable, I think we should promote an agrarian culture, you know, self-sustainability. use the land we have so that we're not depending on the U.S. mainland so much. Big topic for me, major topic. And I own hempdome.com. And, my family was farmers. My dad and grandfather raised alfalfa in southern Utah. We always had horses, so that's something that's important to me. Political transparency. So yes, I support political transparency. I do not like campaign donations, special interests, favors. So when I run a campaign, I don't take donations. People can share my information. They can spread it around on social media. That helps. But I'm not asking for money. I'm not asking for favors. I think that's a weak way of doing this. I figure if I can't do it on my own merit, then I shouldn't be doing it at all. So that's my platform in a nutshell. And looking at what's going on now, I've been talking about this gun topic for a very long time because of what I saw in Maui, and before that even. Guns are just important to our civil liberties. So I've been reporting on this since, at least on electrarian.org, since October of 2019, and on disruptarian.com since like 2015, and on clovisstar.com I've been talking about it probably since 2013, and it's just a big issue. I've always talked about this. We should have the rights to defend ourselves, against enemies, domestic or foreign, either or. Someone comes to my house, I need to protect my family, whether it's a domestic enemy or a foreign enemy. So this is just part of our inalienable rights. Inalienable is a very important word. And that's what people don't understand about this shutdown. With 225,000 jobs lost, thousands of businesses going out of business in this state, suicides on the rise. This shutdown is unconstitutional and illegal. So inalienable, which is our civil rights, the first 10 amendments of the Constitution and the Constitution itself, unable to be taken away from or given away by the possessor. Anyway, so this is what unalienable means. Really, people need to get acquainted with it. Our civil rights are unalienable. They're not something the government can take away because they never gave them to us in the first place. They weren't theirs to give. They're ours by birth. They're natural rights. Adjective, non-transferable to another or not capable of being taken away or denied. Not alienable, inalienable rights, freedoms, and liberties. An inalienable territory, inalienable principles and values. So, our First Amendment, right to gather. Our Fifth Amendment, our right to travel. When we go from island to island and they give us a 14-day lockdown, that violates our Fifth Amendment right. That violates our First Amendment right. Violates a bunch of rights. The Ninth Amendment, which ensures those rights. So we should not be giving up our rights. They were not our choice to give. They never asked us. They didn't even push this through the legislature. This is an executive order on inalienable rights. So that's crazy talk. I can't believe they can even do that. And we're not even resisting. Very, very few of us are. So I think we need to start resisting. People need to start getting involved in, civil issues, civil liberties, and civics in general. We can't just let them stomp all over us. And as far as the rioters and the protesters, I believe there's good protesters and there's bad rioters. I believe there's good cops and there's bad cops. We can't just use blanket statements, or we can't judge a book by their cover. But rioting is wrong. They've been dragging people out of their cars and killing these people, lighting buildings on fire. They lit one multi-family house on fire, or multi-family residence on fire, like an apartment complex, and then they blocked the fire department from getting in to put out the fire. It was really close to killing a family. That is wrong, so I don't stand with that. But I do think what happened to George Floyd was wrong. I do think that police violence is wrong. I do believe that, police murdering citizens is wrong. I stand against that. I always have. I started a little club when I was a kid called SPEAR, which stands for Skins and Punks Everywhere Against Racism. I have that tattoo. It says SPEAR on my chest, and I have a group on Facebook called SPEAR, or Skins and Punks Everywhere Against Racism. Racism of all kinds. Racism against all colors. Black, white, brown, purple, I don't care. Nobody should be discriminated against. Nobody should have racism forced on them. We got to stand against it in solidarity. Check out electryan.org. I don't know if I'll run in 2022, but I'll definitely support a candidate that's willing to run on, fiscally conservative, socially liberal ideologies, that supports the TMT and that opposes these sovereignty movements and these mobs. I don't believe in mob rule, so that's what I have to offer. I may get on the ballot still. I don't know. I've got 34 signatures. Most of them are from out of this district. I learned later that they have to be in this district for me to get those signatures to count. So I may have 10 or 12 signatures from this district, which means I only need 3 or 4 more. But at that, who knows if they're going to accept them? Who knows if there's going to be a problem with them? They may be formatted wrong. They may have other problems. So we'll see about the signatures. I doubt I'll be on the ballot, but I'm willing to support a good candidate. So just let me know. Check us out at electryan.org. Mahalo, aloha, peace.